better leave it to the professionals.
Blessed by Bundy, blah, blah, blah.
Started off with a bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Surfing on the web and I'm shooting at 3. I've been goated when I got my G. I'm an alien boy from a different planet, yeah. So I got my drink, I'm riding in the 1920s Model T Ford. Call her Era Lord. Call me Levi, playing on the keys, boy. And I'm about to put my gloves on. If I said it, then I meant that. Yeah, I like that one, I'm about to get that. Crash that whip for the drumsticks, whiplash. I'm about to get them all. Are you with that? In a white boat, surrounded by blue. I want one, but I got a cop too. I wanna fly high in the sky, arms out wide, trying to soar from a bird's eye view. I'm on fire, Ricky, Bobby, cracking the pavement, Whitney, Bobby. I'm a Saki bomb, Hiroshima, Nagasaki. Bruce Wayne been a dog, and I keep it 101, cause I'm feeling kinda spotty. You sipping on some rock, and I'm sipping on octane. The only thing around my neck is the
Started off with a
blockchain.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
NFT, Twitter, blockchain. Seeing with the ghosts and we ballin' like LeBron James. Crypto. We can make a trade, get the memo. Refuse not falling for the FOMO. Listening to Coffee with Captain. You know we worldwide, they loco. I ain't never gonna stop rapping. Orlando, yeah, we working magic. We rocking Ethereum NFTs. I just went and caught me a half base. Man, I gotta shout out
Started
the
off with a
party.
bit, now I got coin. I see where y'all going. Been poppin' since Web 1, hella hoes on Web 2. I was living a dream, now I'm on Web 3. And it is what it seems, topping the pyramid schemes, I'm telling you. I'll sell you a percentage on Nebula. Shout out to Vince, he'll set it up.
Breaking the mood to choose one, but they got knowledge to move, son. I'm shocking the shades with my brother in suits, yeah, them blues is coming. Even though it's hard to pick, eeny, miny, mo, soda on the mix, no biting lips, it's time to go. Index number 1, no thumbs up, you gotta scroll. Looking at the ghost in studio, it's time to go. I had a helmet on by myself until I met a mask that wanted to have a face off. So I had to bring my chainsaw, full tank of gas in the ride with my brakes off. I'm A1, but a different kind of steak sauce.
There we go. Let's run it back. GM, welcome to Coffee with Captain. I'm Cap, joined by my co-host Outer Loom of the Day. We are live on X Audio Spaces as well as X Video. And now we are live on YouTube as well as Abstract. Go smash those like buttons over there and hit the subscribe button while you're at it. Hope everyone had a great start to their week. Monday was a really enjoyable show. I had a lot of back and forth, a lot of very active, a lot of thoughts on the topic, and I think it might continue on today. A lot to get into. Rainy day here in South Florida. Probably some needed rain. I'm not a farmer. I'm not a farmer on the crypto protocols, as well as I'm not a in real life farmer. Although I have been enjoying plants. I've been getting back in the I guess evolving my green thumb and dabbling in the plant scene. Outer, are you into are you horticulture? Am I using that word correctly?
So look, GM,
welcome back.
thanks. I have plants, but they're the kind of plants that survive my random intermittent whenever I remember watering cycle, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
This is the
So that
smart
means-
way to do
That means I
plants.
have like spider plants and pathos plants and like anything that, and some of those Christmas cactuses. What's that thing, that mother-in-law's tongue or something, that like just things you really like have a hard time killing and you can water them once in a while, no problem. but like, you know, like I don't have an orchid blooming or anything like that.
Orchids are. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh no, I was done, but I did at the end there hear myself
Little
playing
echo.
back to me.
Yeah, no, I was grabbing a YouTube link, and sometimes it does that. Orchids, I think, might be the most difficult, at least from what I've attempted to do. I am 0 for orchid. I'm 0 for my life on orchids. Very, very challenging. Yes, indoors, the spider plants, the snake plants, that sort of stuff that's the way to do it. Like the stress-free doesn't really matter. Very hardy plants is probably the best path. Although I do.
Oh, I have a Monstera, I think is what they're called,
Okay.
where it's like the big leaves and
Yeah.
then there's like the little holes through them. A friend gave me one for my birthday, and I did like baby this thing to be like quite huge. But again, it also is okay with an intermittent watering cycle. I just can't commit to anything that needs like something in a routine way. I have a hard time with that. I mean, somehow I raised a baby, but the baby cried when it needed stuff, so it was like pretty
Exactly.
easy. They're like, you're crying, okay, I'll feed you. You're crying, okay. Like there was an alarm system, like a fail-safe alarm system comes with kids, which is great. And I only have the one because can't imagine doing that more than once. Kudos to you if you have. But yeah, like it needs to be something that is like fairly straightforward. However, we are moving, and even though it's snowing here this morning, which is insane, I am looking forward to having a bigger yard where I could maybe garden. But that's like a whole other thing. I feel like gardening is like you water in the morning and make sure like pests are not eating your stuff, and then it's kind of okay too. So I don't know. I'm gonna try my hand at gardening. I think that might be fun.
That's fun. That is I've shared. I've like full circle as growing up in the country and on farms or adjacent to farms as a kid, and had a huge garden almost every year growing up. I wanted nothing to do with that. When I turned 18, I wanted to go to college, go to the big city, and I had zero interest in farming I don't want to say I had zero interest in spending time outdoors, but I'm now full circle where I just want to retire to a dog farm and have a garden. Our garden, when I say huge, like I should see if I can find some pictures of it. Like core memories would be like picking bugs off the potato plants or weeding, just like spending so much time in the garden as a kid and did not enjoy it. It was like work. And now that stuff is like, it's like my meditation. I don't meditate properly, and stuff like yard work or gardening or watering plants, it's like it's just an easy way to turn off my brain and do something, but yet do something that doesn't require like active thought.
That is meditating for some people, right? I want to like unpack for a second, because you're like, I don't know how to meditate properly. Well, listen, like for a long time, I always bought into this, like you have to sit still and not move and breathe deeply and all of that. And like the truth is, at least my truth anyways, I've learned that you can meditate for some people anyways, where like I need to be moving, like I need to be doing something for me to actually find that like peace in that like meditative state. So I don't know, there's something to be said, like for me, for instance, a huge meditative thing would be like to look for beach glass on a beach. Like
Ooh.
I can just do that, or I'll do this sometimes, even though like it's kind of funny. I don't really like shopping that much, but I'll go to a clothing store, like a thrift shop probably, and just like sort through the racks of clothes for like no reason. Like I'm just like sorting through the colors or something. Like, so when I do something like that, that's physical, I find it super relaxing. Then I am meditating. Then I'm like, my brain is turned off. So I don't know. I just want to like, I'm never the person that would go to like some yoga class and then they're like, oh, and now we're all going to lie down on our yoga mats and close our eyes. Like, oh my God.
I've done it twice now.
Please don't make me close my eyes. And I'm thinking about lunch while everyone else is pretending to meditate. Let's be real. Like,
yep.
I don't know. Like, yeah.
I've done it twice, and it is, I guess, good for like stretching, and I see the value in it. I see the benefit of it. but it's not relaxing for me. It's not relaxing at all. Like, I don't respect people who can, and that puts them in a good mental state. For me, I'm consciously thinking the whole time. In the case of yoga, I'm trying not to fall over, but really, I don't enjoy it. But things like I said, like we have someone like that does the yard work now, and part of me wants to like cancel it, and just because I like, is it worth, I don't know, an hour of my time every week? No, but it's an hour of like time I can shut my brain off and check out. So instead of doing the like the mowing and the weed eating, I did go out, and like part of my morning on Easter Sunday was just weeding the flower beds. Cause again, I know it sounds silly, but that's a way for me to check out and quite literally touch grass. But recently I've gotten, also a new place and just more room. And so I did move some plants. It was funny. I don't know if I shared this, where for several months I was Airbnb, and I was between homes, and I just found an Airbnb in St. Pete I really liked. And so I just kept renewing it, and I ended up doing kind of a longer term thing there. And I had probably, I don't know, somewhere between 6 to 12, like pretty large planters that were on the balcony of this place, and they were cool with it. But, they were just like, I don't know, anything from like aloe to rubber plant to some, snake plants. And so now I have replanted some of those. I have a papaya tree that actually my old neighbor gifted to me. And so I replanted that and split it into two. Hopefully I've got it. I think it's in a large enough, it is still in a pot, but it is, I think, large enough to where it can actually flower and might bear some fruit here in the next year or so. And I've added, while not full garden, I've thought about doing like the raised garden bed. I don't have like my backyard is taken up with you basically a pool and the pool patio, and then it goes right into like a lake or a pond. So I don't have room for like a full-fledged garden. But I have considered doing like the raised flower bed. Have you ever done this before? Like a raised garden? Just like a smaller.
Well, I have like those like wooden framed in raised beds, like on the lawn or whatever in the yard. But you also have to remember that, like, for the same very reason that I love being in Canada, and that everything poisonous and gross for the most part dies in the winter, and so like our predators are pretty like tame compared to things near the equator. So I love that. But also, like, our growing season is so short, right? Like, I can't put anything in the ground until probably like mid-May, right?
Yeah, it makes sense. Didn't think about your weather challenges there, but I think it's also part of like why I want to do more is I live in a climate where it's easy, or easier, I should say. Like it enables me to do that if I want. Sobi Ash says, check out Teva planter, TEVA planter. Dig a hole in your soil, put it inside, and only pour water inside it. As long as you pour water in there once in a while, your plants will do fine. Most plants die because of overwatering at home. I would agree with that. The challenge that I've run into now is I have, I don't know, like it's split half of them indoors, the other half outside. And in Florida heat, like you got to water, even if it's the same plant, you got to water them at very different frequency. So I had it dialed in pretty good where it's like, oh, just once a week I water all my plants, and that worked just fine, minus some that I would either water lightly or skip a week. Now, though, it's like some of the ones outside I got to water daily. I won't today because it rained, but it is definitely much more to think about now. That what I need to do, I should just work with Claude or ChatGPT and have it sculpt a like a plant watering calendar for me, and then remind me on when I need to do it. Until I get the robot that can do all the watering for me, I will try to think. I think here I've just got like, this is I think a spider plant, and then the other over in the corner a snake plant, but good for air filtration. And but I've added some herbs, and I don't know if I'm going to do like, if I do the raised bed, or like you were referring to, like maybe some tomatoes. But tomatoes get like, I feel like tomato plants as they get mature, they just get kind of gnarly, and I'd rather have a more of like a just a cleaner look if I'm going to go. So it's probably sticking with herbs, maybe some peppers, just like light stuff, more so as.
I mean, you can do like lemons and avocados and all these things that I cannot do, or even like a mimosa tree. I don't know. If I did live in that kind of climate, I would definitely grow the exotic things I guess I can't grow here, which are probably not exotic to you since they're endemic to the region. But
no, but
mom. Oh, go ahead.
Not exotic per se, but you're absolutely right. Like in addition to papayas, I should do some citrus plants and stuff that I think where I'm impatient and I want to like I can like 6 months, a year, but I don't want to like something that's going to be years out before it starts bearing fruit is like, so I maybe I buy one that's already got a good start, or that's what I need to look into is what can I plant like now, and by fall or this time next year it might actually have fruit on it. And yeah, that would strawberries is an option. But yeah, I am on the
those spread though, so be careful depending on where you put them. My mom, when she moved here in like to our city last March, because she found out that she had terminal cancer, so she was going to pass away. She had a green thumb, by the way. Unlike me, she could grow like all the things and she loved her plants. She would like talk to them. Anyways, she came in and she left. She's like, this is my celery plant. And it was this celery plant that she grew from like buying celery, putting it in soil, and she had it for like 3 at least, if not 4 years. Like this thing had like a thick stalk that almost like barked over. It was kind of impressive, this celery plant. And she's like, when it dies, I die. And I'm like, wow, okay, thanks. Anyways, of course, yes, she's dead. The plant is dead. There's no way I could baby that thing. It's insane. But as an homage to her, I recently purchased some watermelon radish to eat. And I was like, hey, what if just maybe I can't do celery, but maybe I could make this watermelon radish like sprout leaves. And I did. Like I just put it in I had like a teapot that lost its lid. So I just added some soil in it. Actually, I took the soil from my mom's celery plant that was dead and I shoved it in this teapot. And then I put this watermelon radish in it. And now it's like all blooming and it has leaves. I don't know what to do beyond that. But like, I don't know. It just seems kind of like fun to try to, I don't know if you've ever done that where you like buy vegetables or fruits at the grocery store, but then you try to grow stuff from there.
Oh yeah.
I've heard of people try to like do it from the avocado pit or something, but that seems complicated, but that would be cool to do an avocado tree.
Yeah, couple thoughts. One, my dad or stepdad, who passed a couple years ago, he used to grow these gigantic yellow tomatoes that were so good, like best tomatoes you ever had. And my brother still has some of those seeds. I'm definitely gonna do some yellow tomatoes. If I do tomatoes, I'm gonna do the yellow tomato type. Shout out to Jet, who shared this tower garden, says it's the technology used by NASA. Also, we had Sobiash shared that Teva planter, but a lot of technology to help you to have, even if you don't have the green thumb. I don't want to say like set it and forget it, but yeah, a lot of it's getting close to set it and forget it. Speaking of NASA technology, have you been following Artemis and this moon journey? What's your thoughts on this? Did you watch the Netflix live stream yesterday?
I watched Netflix. I was busy yesterday, but I watched the launch. Our entire family sat there and watched the launch, and we were like surprised it actually went so smoothly. It was almost like, wait, what? What do you mean it's taken off?
Is your kid into it? Is he enjoying it?
Oh yeah. No, we're all into space, so yeah, that was great. I've yet to watch the stream from yesterday, but it's on my list of things I want to definitely see. Did they play Pink Floyd?
Oh, they should
during
have.
This?
They should have.
They had to have.
I did not. I didn't watch the full. I turned it on for a little bit. I was kind of surprised. I went into Netflix and I couldn't find it. Like I had to search for it, and then eventually it was I don't know if I couldn't even find it. Like searching Artemis, I had to search NASA, and then I could find the live show. I was surprised it wasn't like as soon as you logged in, like highlighted as like their feature live show. But it was. When I logged in, there was just nothing going on, and so I was like, maybe I'll log in later when they round the moon or whatever. But I ended up not going back. I saw some clips, saw some new pictures, some new images, and I heard, I missed it, but people were talking about in the war room about some brands did a good job of getting some free advertising, like I guess Nutella. I'm get like where the
Was
astronauts.
that real, or I thought that was an AI movie that like the Nutella social media interns made by putting Nutella in there. Like you could have put anything in there, like as a thing that floated by the astronauts. I thought that was AI, but are you saying that's actually real?
I don't
have
know.
no idea. I don't know. I didn't fact check it, but I just assumed that it was fake.
Good call out. I really, it's so hard nowadays. It's so like, what's real? What's AI? Like the whole, and not only what's real, what's AI, because the quality of AI, but also like our world is just so weird that it's like things that you would think, oh, that's AI, ends up being like Trump talking about bombing Iran next to the Easter Bunny. Like, if you said that a few years, like, oh, it's clearly someone's like just playing with AI. No, I'm pretty sure that was real, but I really don't know what to believe anymore. AI is so good and the world is so weird that it's hard to distinguish the two. But it looks like, I guess, Nikon, Nutella, and Apple. Nutella had a flyby on screen. Great, like Mayhem, Hizzy. I don't. Was that AI? Was it real? Do we know? Are we guessing? Yeah, not playing Pink Floyd though would have been a miss. That is yeah, that was some low hanging fruit. Speaking of horticulture and our planting. Zonko has been calling it Fartimus because of the toilet troubles. That's pretty good. I saw we had Simple Farmer jump up on stage. I do want to talk a little bit about Pixel Pups here in a bit. Outer's like, what are we talking about today? Mega ETH had a big update coming out yesterday. We'll at least do a flyover and hit on those bullet points, hit on those highlights. We had a pretty deep conversation yesterday regarding NFTs, and Dort corrected me, like, I don't want to say NFTs are back because too many people take that as, they're interpreting that as, oh, the bull mania of 2021 is back and things are going to rip to 100 ETH floor and that's never going to happen. I'm not saying that. Like that was a bubble, the bubble popped, but like most bubbles, there's a 99% of things will go to zero, and then there's a few that survive, and the technology's not going anywhere. Like the blockchain tech isn't going anywhere. Like are we ever going to get back to a mania where every day there's hundreds of NFT projects minting out and then you could flip it for 100x the next day? No, absolutely not. I'm not saying that. In fact, I don't think anyone's saying that. But there's some very real momentum. For the first time in a long time, we saw some announcements that actually created excitement, and the timeline is abuzz again, and floor prices are up. And could it be a short-lived pump and go right back to zero? It could be, but it feels as if there is some positive momentum. And I think the other thing that I saw Feld talking about it, but very few people reference, and it's unfortunate that it's not a leading KPI. It should be. It should be far more important. Well, maybe not far more important. It should be looked at more often than his floor price, and it's just not. But it's things like unique holder count, mutants, apes, all-time highs. Like that matters. Yeah, there was also, I saw a few individuals were saying though that it's the ratio is mispriced. That apes shouldn't be 5 or 6x the price of mutants, and these are mutants saying this, and it's like, if you factor in available supply, they're not mispriced. I mean, one is provenance matters for some. There is, the OG asset versus a secondary collection, but it's not, when I say available supply, it's not 10,000 to 20,000 or 1 to 2 ratio. Rather, it's of those 10,000, how many are actually potentially available for sale? And then same thing with the 20,000, how many are potentially available for sale? And the reality is there's just far more mutants. And even still, like you got to have to do some searching. Both the floors of both those particular collections aren't great. You gotta pay up a little bit. You gotta pay a premium. Some people, I mean, we flashed some tweets yesterday, some people looking, and it's like you almost got to go about 2x the floor to find one that is aesthetically pleasing, or one that you'd like to hold long term, or you'd like to make it your digital identity. I think that there is a larger percentage of the 10,000 that just aren't for sale. There's a lot of OGs or not even OGs like myself and others that were around near mint time, but people who've picked up over the years that they joined the club. They didn't buy an asset to flip. Although I did see someone I think already made a couple ETH on an ape they flipped here over the last week. When floors do run, if you are trading, I'm not suggesting trade. I'm definitely not suggesting put any money in you can't afford to lose. I'm not suggesting it's a good time to trade NFTs. But if there is an access pass, if there's some utility, if there's a club you'd like to join, if there's a community you'd like to be a part of, if there's art you'd like to hold, and you have disposable income to invest in said asset, now might be a time, because if it does run, if we ever do if let's say in the case of Yuga, if the clubhouse is a hit, the supply is really minimal. Like 10,000 is not a lot, but the reality is there's not the market. There's not 10,000 available to sell. It's just realistically there was, I don't know, somewhere between 30 to 300 that just continually got farmed around on the floor through blur farming and OpenSea farming. And now that that's ended, you're seeing like the assets that are desirable, they're hard to get. Like some people just aren't selling. Like I'm, at least, as I said, 10-year journey. So at least for the next 5 years, mine's just not for sale. So that's one that's just off the market. And there's a lot more like myself. And even if the percentages are the same, meaning let's say 50% of the apes aren't for sale and 50% of the mutants aren't for sale, what all of a sudden you've got that difference between 5,000 and 10,000, while it is a 2-to-1 ratio, the reality is there's going to be a lot more that are, supply matters, and supply crunch happens with the lower supply, and floors are thin, momentum is back, and yeah, for people that are looking for, I also do believe if the clubhouse is a hit, as we talked about yesterday, comparing it to social clubs and what memberships and monthly dues or annual dues cost, I do think if you look at all the NFTs that are an access pass, you could easily build a case that mutants are underpriced with the clubhouse coming, especially for those in the Miami market. But all that being said, I don't know if you caught the NFT buzz over the weekend or the floor prices running up. Maybe if you have any thoughts on that, if not, maybe a good time to get in a market update. We'll get everyone brought up to speed what happened in the last 24 hours, and then we can continue the conversation. Thoughts there?
I mean, yeah, I don't know if there is like any kind of strong driver to say NFTs are full on back. I think this is still like maybe reactionary to the clubhouse or whatever. But two things that I think are interesting. One is I'm still part of the mutant cartel, and I guess they had a draw for their VIP members, and I was sent an inscription. I guess they had like these mutant hound inscriptions. I don't know. I don't know much about what they were doing on Bitcoin, but apparently I won one of these things, and it was just kind of funny to me. It reminded me of like the good times when you entered some kind of Discord raffle and and then you won like a spot or you won a token, and I don't know, it's just kind of like fun to it gave me that like NFTs are back sentiment. And then two, in that Discord, somebody was asking if they were looking at mutants or dogs, and I haven't heard anybody utter anything about Bored Ape dogs in a minute.
Forgot they existed until you said that.
Totally same, right? But I gave them this insight because they're like, is MIC or AKC a good buy right now? And I said, for whatever it's worth, when they launch token gated things like merch or events or whatever, they don't generally include dogs for access. Mm-hmm. So do with that what you will. And I don't even know how much dogs are. I don't even know how much mutants are. So like no idea. But I just remember that if you use an ape, you usually get a little bit more. If you use the mutant, you get something. And if you have a dog, generally, you didn't get much in terms of access to like events and that kind of thing. So,
I'm surprised, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are. I'm actually kind of, now that you say that, I'm surprised we haven't seen dogs in the other side yet. I've always thought that would be where the dog really comes into play, is potentially a multiplier on the other side, a companion in other sides. So if you think about like, I think of like World of Warcraft type, if you're going in this open world and you're exploring, you have your main character, it's just you, but yet a dog could be a companion that gives you some extra hit points, or, you know, it's got rocket launchers on it that gives you some some like basically a power up in game. Maybe it's just too early for that. But yeah, dogs are still at a 0.18 ETH floor. It's not nothing. But yeah, they had kind of slipped my memory until you said that. We're going to do the market update kind of in reverse order. I will. You said you're not familiar with the mutant floor. It's up now to 1.05. It has been on an absolute ripper. If we look at analytics here, and it's not on no volume either, 265 ETH in volume over the last 7 days at a time where NFT volume is at essentially all-time lows since the mania. So we've got overall volume down, but yet we're finally starting to see some of this consolidation into the leading brands. And I love that it's not just the OGs, it's not just new collections, but a combination of both. And it's, I guess the common theme with most of the new collections is they're really leaning into the tech. We will Simple Farm, I'm not ignoring you. We'll bring you to the conversation in a little bit once we knock out this market update. But it's, you know, Simple Farmer just launched Pixel Pups, and that's tied to a whole array of DeFi products and a token. And there's a lot baked into unlocking the technology and doing more with these assets than just being, you know, a collectible digital asset. You know, you've got, you know, we talked about normies and having 10 different smart contracts and really leaning into some of the new technology. Something that didn't exist in the early days is how wide this distribution is. So you look at, I got mutants pulled up here now. There's 12,104 unique owners. 61%, 62% of the collection is distributed. It's a pretty strong metric. In fact, I don't know. Maybe they do exist, but I don't know as if there's another collection at or near or above a 1 ETH floor that has over 12,000 different holders. And might some of these sell? Sure. But a lot of these people, they picked it up because they wanted to join the club. They're going to these in real life meetups. They're looking forward to the clubhouse. They're looking forward to Ape Fest. They enjoy Other Side. You know, while Other Side may not be for you or any particular person, it's a very vibrant community. There's a lot of people that are having a lot of fun there, and they're leveling up to level 60 now on Other Side. By the way, Figgy is going to be joining us tomorrow. Not 100% confirmed, but I think Figgy's going to pop in and we can pry all the alpha we can out of Figgy. But again, floor price up. Not only is the floor price up 43% in the past week on some pretty serious volume, 266 sales. You're seeing a lot of sales well above floor. You're seeing people collect what they want to collect. And I just don't think because of the current market dynamic, I don't think people are buying to speculate. I think they're buying because a little bit of FOMO. Like they want to be a member of the club. They want to hold a mutant or an ape, and they don't want to see the floor rip up to a price where they can no longer afford it. I saw some people were already regretting that they've been targeting it and they just thought things would go lower. And they were bummed out that they didn't pick up one below an ETH. And I've seen some people, it's the last time you're going to see it below an ETH. I don't know that. I mean, this could be back to 0.95 tomorrow, but there's some really real momentum. And I don't think it's not nothing. I'll share a Diablito take here in a second. I've got some comments from Dort. I see Poppy joined us as well. We'll get you in the conversation here shortly. Dort says, I wonder if what's about the new website that suddenly gave the floor a lift. It's been on the roadmap for years, talked about forever, officially announced at Ape Fest. Says, but perhaps the performance of its own domain being officially on their permanent and new website really ignited a spark and realization. The in real life chapters push combined with the push for the clubhouse reminded people while this brick and mortar in real life element is such a big deal. I think it's a combination of everything. I think it's a combination of that. I think it's a combination of
the memory lane on the website, I think, was really nice.
Agreed.
I really enjoyed scrolling through all the things and just being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how long it's been. I think that's really cool. One thing you were talking about like the tech and this idea of collecting though. There's something that is missing for me that I don't think most people probably would even care or take advantage of. Like as a product person, I know the space does not need it. As a collector, I need it. And it's actually funny because like we already had this available on a marketplace, but then it evolved and it's no longer there. But I really miss the ability to like bundle certain assets to sell because a lot of like for instance, like, you know, what if there's an ape and a matching deed, or like a moonbird and a matching oddity, or like if you've been collecting for a long time, you have these like really cool sets with like low provenance. Maybe it's like literally only been in one wallet. And I know like we're used to like JPEG floor price kind of buying, but I think it would be nice to maybe go back to, and again, like user sample size, probably 100 in the entire space that would actually even care about this kind of thing. So like, is it worth it to build this? Absolutely not. Nobody will use it. But I love the idea of like, I remember looking through people's bundles when people could list stuff like that, like especially like OGs or even like project founders, or like, I don't know, it's just really cool to like see somebody like be able to put together something on offer that they think is valuable. I don't know. It's a different way. Like we haven't really had a marketplace like you have like a, you know, like a Facebook marketplace or any of these things where you can actually like even add a description to what you're selling. Like there's a miss with how people buy. And if we're in a collectibles thing, like you definitely want to say like this card is mint condition. Well, what does mint condition mean for a digital asset? Okay, well, to me that means that maybe it was just minted and it's the only wallet it ever sat in, instead of something that's just been floored over and over and over again. Because to me that represents the use of it, I guess, in a way. I don't know. I'm like spitballing stuff, but these are the things that like
I love it.
I find interesting.
I love it. I agree. And I'm not saying like, I also agree with you. There's maybe like 100 people that care about this stuff, but that it matters. That people do care, and that existed before. People were really into full set Fridays and collecting a full set.
Because you know, like the great Blue Sea had collection offers, trade offers, bundles, all of the like collectible things. And then I remember when that product pivoted more to like blur type kind of like pro trader view, and that's fine. I mean, that's the market did want that, so that makes sense. But there was a lot of those features that were like adding stuff to your card, sending stuff to another wallet, all of the things that made OpenSea a collector's platform. Those things were sunset for like a trader platform, and that's fine. But it's something that I definitely like in my day to day. I remember that because I was like, oh, maybe I do want to list my moonbird. But if I did that, which has literally only been in one, like it was in 2 wallets, I think, from a transfer. Like that's it. Plus I have a matching oddity and a matching mythic and all these things that I would want to bundle together if I was going to offer them to somebody, or even to show them off as a listing, right? Like we're missing that, I think, from NFT retail if NFT pivots into collectibles.
Great assessment. And I think this thing went in cycles, right? It started out very much so collectible in a community-based sector, NFTs, you know, that being as an asset class. And then it went from, quite frankly, collectibles, similar, not too awful different from baseball cards and football cards and cardboard collectibles, albeit on chain and much less friction and different. And then we went so far from, I feel, away from collectibles, and it cycled much more into trading. And a lot of them, they became, Kobe, you know, called it early, they became, in many cases, altcoins with pictures. And the rarities, the collectability nature, people stopped caring about full sets or their token ID or aesthetics or mid rares. Yeah, grails at least in the primary collection still held, you know, a premium, but it was like a floor or a grail, and anything in between really didn't matter. Maybe I'm wrong, but I feel as if we're getting back to that level where not everyone, some people aren't going to care, and that's fine. The thing I think, there's only 10,000 of these. There's only 30,000 total in both collections. You don't need millions of people. And I think what I'm tempted to drive home is what's changed is time. Time matters. Distribution matters. Collectively now there's almost 18,000 members in the Bored Ape Yacht Club. If you factor in, over 12,000 mutants and over 5,000 ape holders. And a lot of those collectors, they don't have a desire to sell. In some cases, like, I mean, maybe they will if the floor rips up to $500,000 again. Are you going to see some of the OG holders who round trip the up and down? Are they going to exit? Probably. But I'm not expecting that as the outcome. I think, could the floor price continue to grind higher? I think it could. And the reality is that the supply is just not much. I mean,
Imagine you log on and you're trying to shop for an ape, and like one of the filtered categories is like, has it been in Pranksy's wallet or not? Like,
right?
It's just funny to me. Like, absolutely useless feature, but I just think it's hilarious to like think about how some of that is tied to like ape lore. But look, I don't know. There's a part of me that thinks a lot of this is reactionary, and I think people are also on as much as like I love the hopium of things, and I'm absolutely here for it as somebody who adores all the JPEGs. I also realize that people are down bad still. And there's definitely people that are looking for an opportunity just so that they don't sell the very bottom if something does go up, for them to at least somehow make peace with the fact that they want an exit. So like, I don't know. I feel like it's.
I think you're right, but I don't think it's all. Right? I think certainly some, but I don't think it's all. I think there's some that are along for the ride, and hey, don't get me wrong. If these things rip up to $1 million floor, am I going to sell? Maybe, probably so. Or the mutant's gone. I'll say that much at least. That said, like, I enjoy the club. I'm really looking forward to the clubhouse, and they are leaning back into, I think it's a combination of several things. One, I do think sentiment across the board, not just NFTs, but I think crypto sentiment has kind of bottomed. At least fear and greed has been in fear for, let me make sure I get the right, it's been at or below 34 for 47 consecutive days, the longest sustained fear streak since 2022. Like, at some point, and I know there's macro stuff, there's a lot going on in the world, there's global uncertainty, all that is far, and we're way out on the risk curve. But where I'm optimistic isn't that floor prices are going to rip up to 100 ETH. I am optimistic that at some point macro changes. At some point we see some sort of resolution in the Middle East. We see some sort of, stability across just markets as a whole. And when you have such wide distribution now, it's not going to take much to. I mean, there's most of these collections, not all, but all of these collections have like 2% of the supply listed. That's not a lot. And it doesn't take much to start creating some momentum in FOMO, because I mean, you're seeing it now. You see on the timeline. I mean, just right now, Platimama says reached level 25 yesterday on other side meta and collected over 100 Easter eggs. Wish I had gotten a mutant at 0.8. Would have had to liquidate a bunch of smaller projects. I've lost count of the amount of people who said, "Oh, I wish I would have bought under an ETH." There's people that really do. It's a aspirational goal to own a punk, to own a ape, to own a pudgy, a quirky. Like, a lot of people had these as goals, and they've been around. The people who are around still, I think, are much more likely that they actually enjoy the space. They're active participants. They do enjoy collecting. They're not here just to grind out a 0.01 ETH flip. And when you have such wide distribution, things could heat up quickly. Like, the supply is just very limited. And I do think it's a combination of things. I have Diablito's post pulled up here. He says, I'm guessing the current NFT pump is speculators back at it because the last round of farming finished up, win dump, to which I gave him the market psychology and told him it's the disbelief stage. Do I think the fact that blur farming and OpenSea's farming over, is that having a positive? Yeah, absolutely has a positive impact. But it's not just that the farmers are less likely to buy in and then subsequently dump these collections. It's now that it's over, everyone that was a collector, everyone that's like, oh, I'd like to buy an ape someday, but I'm not going to because I know there's a bunch of farmers and the floor is likely going to continue to go down. Now that you have that headwind gone of, oh, this wallet holds 100 of these assets that they're going to dump, it's only a matter of time. Now that that's eliminated, collectors will really start collecting. They feel like, okay, the bottom might actually be in. And when I say NFTs were back yesterday or they're surging, it's not that the mania bubble of 21, 22 is back. It's the next phase of NFTs are back. We've went through the mania. We went through farming and royalties are gone to where now royalties are back. You can protect your royalties. You can have royalty enforced contracts. There's no incentivized bidding and there's no incentivized trading. Like collectors are going to collect what they want to collect. And as a result, volume is going to be down. That's not a bad thing. I do not think collectibles.
I don't think it's a bad thing either. Here's another like product take. I think like why if I have no way to benefit from an IRL Miami clubhouse because I live somewhere where I'm just not going to travel there, I better have a way to allow other people who don't have the assets or can't afford them or whatever, be able to almost like, I can delegate it for someone else to play. I better be able to delegate my spot at the clubhouse through the assets that I own, right?
Yep.
If that doesn't happen, then like and a big shift goes to that kind of like IRL thing. And I already believe, by the way, that should have been something that should have been easy for people that like if you have a crew that you want to bring to an ape fest and I have like 3 or 4 ape assets and you're like, hey Lumen, you're not using these, I should be able to easily delegate you the use of those assets. Like there is no reason why I shouldn't.
Agreed.
And actually maybe collect some kind of points or rewards or something. Like there's got to be like, if we're going to expand on I'm going to say the word we shouldn't speak of, utility or whatever, but this is even beyond that. It's just more like if I am an access pass holder, which is one way to look at some of these digital collectibles, especially when there's a clubhouse coming, like I need a way to be able to use that because there is no way I'm holding a Disneyland park pass or buying one when I don't go to Disneyland, right?
Yep.
So like, especially if it becomes about Disneyland, right? Like I'm not saying like if it's heavily leans into that and that's the vibe, then sure. I think like, obviously if there's like something really, alluring and appealing about other reasons to hold these assets, then that's fine. And sometimes it's just for the art and that's okay too, right? Like it's all possible. But if the narrative changes and becomes about the clubhouse, then the utility becomes about the clubhouse, or at least in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So I feel like I want to be able to delegate these things so that other people can use them. Otherwise, like, it just seems, because on my timeline, by the way, is meetings across the world that apes are hosting, which makes me realize how many of them are not in the US, which is the point.
Nope, I 100% agree. And no pressure, Simple Farmer. I know it may not be your job per se, but yeah, let's make sure when that clubhouse goes live, we have a way to delegate or rent out our assets or rent out access. Because I do think for those that aren't in Florida, now, and where I'd push back and say, well, I think you will benefit when it goes live is if the floor price is important to you. If you're looking for an exit, well, you may not be able to use it, but if the clubhouse is a hit, I know this may be a big if, but I happen to think I've been bullish for a very long time on in real life, social, community-based environments, experiential retail, and something unique that's not just a restaurant or bar. This is going to have that. It's going to check those boxes. And Miami's a market of 5-6 million people. There's 200 apes for sale right now. There's a lot of money in Miami. Like it doesn't take if it's a hit and people enjoy that access and they want access to the private rooms, they want access to the VIP section. There's not that many available. There's not like there's a billion of these tokens floating around. There's a couple hundred of them at any given time on the market. And therefore I do think like you could see some real supply shock at some point. To your point of like where all these meetups are happening across the globe, this is just right now over the next 11 days. Now this is all, actually it's not all the states. There's one in London, but these are real life meetups just for the Bored Ape Yacht Club. And this is just one of several very vibrant communities in the space. You've got Los Angeles was yesterday, upstate New York's the 9th, San Diego's the 10th, Las Vegas the 11th, London the 17th, Tampa the 18th. Shout out to Ape Whale for organizing our paintball meetup. And then also San Francisco on the 18th. I think that while the clubhouse might be in Miami, I think part of where they haven't come out and said this, I do believe that in real life becomes one of the leading pillars of the Bored Ape Yacht Club. I go, this is specific to one collection.
I literally had this conversation last night because I have a friend who lives in San Francisco and he's in the space, but he does not have any Bored Ape assets. And I was like, hey, do you want to go to the meetup? I don't even know if it's token gated or not. Like I haven't beyond that looked into it, but literally my thought was like, I can delegate some assets to an ETH wallet you own that in hopes you could use them or whatever. Like that is the narrative, because it's just like, well, it's happening in the city that you are in. I'm sure certainly not right now pulling up to San Francisco in like a week or two. So can you use this? Because otherwise it's just a JPEG sitting in my wallet when other people can be using this. It just makes like, I don't know, just makes me happy when it's utilized for something. So like, yeah, but I wish, I guess my point is that it would be cool to lean into some way of making that not just easy, but also like even incentivizing it, right? Like
bingo.
This idea of IRL I like, but I also I also want to be able to like extend that so that if there's like something awesome happening in Hong Kong and I happen to have like a bunch of ape assets in Canada, I could easily be like, hey, friend in Hong Kong, you should go check this out. It's my way of introducing friends that I have around the world to this ecosystem, right?
Yep. Dort does add, you can delegate shadows already. It already is built, can easily change delegates. So while
yes, we know that. The point I'm making is the front end and the incentive to show up to whatever DApp, whatever website, and make that fun.
Right? I agree. That's what's I think would be the great add, the great addition to that is whether we're incentive in the sense like you can rent it out or you can lease it or you can monetize your access that you can't use at that time. It's like, oh, you have a concert ticket, you can't go to the concert, you're going to sell it. Here you don't want to sell your asset, but you'd like to sell that drop for the concert ticket. Whether it's something like that where you can a very easy, simple to use interface where you can lease or sell your access to a specific event, or you mentioned even like gamifying it, incentivizing it. I don't know exactly what that looks like. I have to put a lot more thought to it, but the idea of, Outer has introduced 7 people to the clubhouse over the last 6 months because she's delegated or she's invited them by way of her access, and that adds up to some points, or that gets you the next time you go, you get $70 off drinks. I'm making stuff up, throwing it at the wall here, but I really do think there's something there to that way. Those who aren't in Southeast Florida can also benefit from having access more so than just supply, demand, and floor going up because it's a hit and more people want to go. I see a lot of hands. We had Drew pop up, we had Poppy pop up, we also have Bouvet and Simple Farmer, who I said we'd get to a little while ago. I appreciate everyone being here. We are going to get to all of you. Let me do this real quickly. I want to do a proper daily market update, and then we will get through all these hands and continue the conversation. This is our daily market update brought to you by Awaken Tax. Head to awaken.tax, use code coffee50 or return coffee50 to save $50 off your tax prep software. This is our daily market update brought to you by Awaken.
It's market update time. Let's set the play. Powered by Awaken, the smart tax way. From crypto flips to DeFi stacks. They keep it clean. Got your back. Grab your coffee. Let's break it down. Daily update. Right now.
Looking at major, down a little bit from the big pump yesterday, which is even more exciting that while crypto is down, NFTs are up in some cases. That is another signal, as the traders would say. Bitcoin is down 1.47% to 68,330. Be interesting to see, can we plow through this resistance at 6970K and break through, reclaim? Maybe my quant says if we could break through that 6970K resistance, pretty open path to 72, somewhere between 72 to 74K to the upside. ETH down 3% to 2,081. BNB down 1%. XRP down 2.8%. Solana down 4% to 78.94. Hyperliquid down 3%. Cardano down 5%. Pretty red day across majors. I was trying to see if we had even any winners. Zcash, go figure. The privacy coin up 4.8%, and Canton up 3.43%. That's majors. Heading over to NFTs though, it is a different story. Let's get back to the main page here. Mutants up another 6% on the day to 1.05. Apes are flat after the run up, still holding 6.35. Pudgies down 0.5% to 4.33. There was a big autoglyph sale, 6-figure autoglyph sale. That floor, as a result, up 5% to 56 ETH. Punk's down 1% to 28.47. Azuki up another 4% to 0.83. Poppy's Quirkies are up flat on the day to 1.16, but continue the really strong momentum. If we have time, we'll have to ask Poppy about this Inks mint as well. We hit the last couple days as they were popping on the volume chart. Memes by 6529, even up 9% on the day. That floor is 0.02. Little Pudgies down 1.7% to 0.48. Milady's down 4% to 1.18. Normies gave back some of their gains. They're down 12%, but still 0.16. Gimbos, I think, up every single day since mint, now up to 2,095 ape, up from about a $320, $360 ape mint. Doodles, 0.47. VFriends, 1.39. There's Inks that I was talking about, 0.13 ETH. In must have been a Beeple sale. Speaking of Beeples, got a little bit of Yuga love with the Justin Bieber ape comeback ARP. I think it was Betty from Deadfellas said the Justin Bieber ape is to NFTs as is Will Smith is to eating spaghetti. Outer, any quick thoughts on that? And then we'll get these hands in here.
That's really funny. I also forgot about the Deadfellas project completely. So that's nice to know that the founder is still around.
Indeed. Let's go. I see. My X has been a little finicky. If you're having any issues getting up, check your updates. There was an X update, and if you're not on the current version of X, it can create some issues. So right now, the only hand I see is Poppy. We lost Drew there. Drew, if you're still with us, I will get you back in here. Apologies if you had a hard out. But let's go Poppy and then Simple Farmer and then Bouvet. Poppy, GM, welcome. What brought you up today?
What's up, guys? Good morning. I jumped in at the perfect time because we've been building this we're called the Quirk Hub. And essentially, like, it's not built to replace OpenSea, but it's built to take the collecting experience like way, way, way deeper. So it was pretty dope. It's like literally the time that I jumped on the call, Outer's talking about like what OpenSea and all these marketplaces are lacking. And we've literally been building it for the last 2 months. We're rolling it out this month for sure. We're just fixing some of the UI stuff and doing some design work and adding some new features. And Outer, shout out to you. I texted the dev and said, hey, let's put like a little counter on there of how many owners the asset has had. So how many wallets it's
That's pretty cool.
So real time updates here. So Outer, you get.
Oh, you're saying you did that off of her take today?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought you said you added.
That's actually a great idea. So I texted the dev. I'm like, yo, let's do this. So
I'll send you my invoice.
yeah, got you. I'll send you the inbox for it. I lost the password. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's a great idea, and it's a really important conversation because I remember when OpenSea sunset that bundle feature, and for many people it didn't really matter, but specifically in like apes, people used to list the full sets, and then in Quirkies, there's alpha sets where the OG Quirky and the Quirkling have the same ID number. And that was really the only way that you could find them, you know, if they were both listed in like a seamless manner. So when that got sunset, it did devalue the alpha sets to some extent because people used to bundle them together, and that it was like a thing. So we've been working on this Quirk Hub. It's actually started as like a vibe code. I started as like a very simple vibe code build out from one of the guys in our community, and I said, dude, I don't even know if you like understand the full potential of where we can take this. And so him and I just got to work on it. It's been at least 2 months, and we've just been building and building and building. And I think people are going to be very impressed. We are using C's API, so people can, you know, if they see assets there, they want to make a purchase, they can buy it. It'll still route through OpenSea's listings. But one of the things we've explored is, maybe using Crossmint or some other kind of payment gateway as an alternate, so that people can purchase with fiat, which I think is very important. We're really going more of the collector route. I've been on Panini a lot and just buying cards and like having fun with their platform. And there's a lot of things that we can learn from Panini. Obviously, Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, those IPs sell themselves. So it's not like we just make this amazing platform and people are just going to come buy, our IP, our characters. But we can learn a lot about the experience of how, Panini has taken, sports card collectors, brought them on chain, pretty much hiding the wires and making it really like a pretty clean experience. One of the things that I really like there is they're able to use PayPal, and you can put bids directly on the assets via PayPal, but the money doesn't leave your account till the bid is accepted. So that's how I've accumulated most of my cards. I'm putting bids and just having fun. So we're building something like that. And I think that it's very important to get back to really catering to the collectors, because if the technology is catered towards the farming or the flipping, those behaviors are going to follow, right? Compensation drives behavior. It's a simple psychology, understanding. So I love that part of the conversation. It's something that I've been thinking a lot about. If we want to be different, we have to build different things. And that's really our focus this year. So yeah, I love that part of the combo. In terms of the ape stuff, I think, obviously traded apes from, early 22 all the way up and all the way pretty much back down. I do think the clubhouse, finally coming, depending on what there is to do, what it really is, which I haven't seen. I'm sure they have some details out. I think that could be a pretty big impact, because we have a quirky office. It was something that I set up pretty much right away when I did the acquisition. And I had Roxel come in. He painted the walls, put like 16 to 20 different quirks on there. We decked it out. We brought in all of our, different stuff made by the community with the IP, stuff that we've done, apparel, art, and really decked the whole thing out. And, we had a couple big holders. One of them has like 80 quirkies. One of them has like 30. And they were in town, so they came in with their wives. And when their wives entered the office, the energy changed. Now, this is just like a 800 square couch, desk, little table to sit down. It's not this clubhouse. But since they left, I've received messages from both of them that both of their wives wanted to get a quirky. They're like, thanks a lot. Now they want one from my collection.
So this is, and, this is, if I can just interject real quick, I think this is very real, and it goes across many collections. I think in real life is very real. In real life, it's easier to see a vision towards where a brand might be heading. It's easier to see, Outer said it earlier, utility. It's hard to see utility when you're just talking digital assets. And when you're talking digital assets in an era where there's not going to be any more airdrops, there's not going to, I shouldn't say no, never anymore. There might be something with Other Side one day, or, there's some newer NFT projects that maybe haven't launched. Like that could happen, but I don't think people are collecting or speculating because someday they might get magical internet money dropped into their asset. Like that as utility, I don't think is going to be part of NFTs 2.0 or this next phase that I do think we're potentially at the beginning of or heading into. And I think whether it's an office space or just you meet up at a, like VFriends does a great job of these in real life meetups as well. And you see them all across, in many different markets. It takes a digital asset and makes it tangible. It gives you you can see and experience that utility. we see it almost every single year at Ape Fest. People come out of Ape Fest and it was their first time experiencing Ape Fest. Like, oh, now I get it. And then they go and buy a mutant or they go and buy an ape. I think just what you described, I think that is the downstream effect of the clubhouse is someone comes as a guest, they have a fun night at the clubhouse, like, oh, now I get it. And now it's it's much easier to start attributing value, or is 1.05 ETH worth it? Well, there's all these other things like, oh, it is a digital asset. It is a collectible. It is art. You can use the IP, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But whereas before you'd be like, okay, this 1.05 ETH gets me access to one Ape Fest a year. And then now the clubhouse is there. And if you're in Miami, it's very easy. Like, oh, I enjoyed this experience. I can't join any other social clubs or even close to this price. And in most cases, they're more than 1 ETH annually. I want to be a part of this. I'm going to go get one. I want to participate. I'm going to come to this once a month or every other week. For the people who aren't in Miami, I think what it also does is it's easier to see a vision towards how that could grow, how the community could grow, how the network could grow. And oh, by the way, if it is extremely successful, there is a path you can connect the dots to that scaling. And then all of a sudden now there's a clubhouse in Toronto, there's a clubhouse in London, there's a clubhouse in LA. Like, I'm not saying that's their plans, but it's easier to see and experience that utility when it's in real life, and it's those sorts of experiences as opposed to just purely digital. And the digital nature, the tech can unlock a lot more, not just gated access and tickets and all that. But Outer alluded to the activations tab earlier on the website. Like, it takes you a minute to scroll through all this stuff. Like, they've done a lot. And not now you saw like, oh, Other Side launches Nexus. Yeah, that's digital in nature. But the majority of these, I haven't done a full count, but I believe, Telegram stickers, not a physical in real life experience, but the majority of these, more than half wasn't in real life activation, wasn't Ape Fest, multiple Ape Fests, obviously, NFT Paris, the collaborations. Like, there's been a lot of activations, and it's easier to forget about these because time is real, and you go and you enjoy something and you're like, oh, like, yeah, I forgot they did that. I forgot they did that collab with McBass. I forgot they did. I forgot Snoop Dogg and Eminem did the video at the VMAs. Like, pretty cool. I forgot that Ape Fest 2 was on a pier and it had 4 nights of headline artists. I forgot they were featured in Rolling. Like, it's just, I think, easier to not only remember, but look forward or speculate forward on what this could become. And I say speculate, I'm not saying speculate on price go up or number go up, but if you're talking about a lifetime membership to a club, like, I do genuinely believe you'd be really hard pressed to find a club that it's had this many activations in the last few years that's only $2,000 give or take to join. Most clubs are significantly more expensive, and it's an analog it's easy for us to relate to. It's easy to explain and share with whether it's your partner or your spouse, or like, I've been talking to my girlfriend. I showed her renderings of the clubhouse. Like, I'm excited. Am I excited to, like, she tunes into the space every once in a while, and I'm grateful for her support. She's phenomenal in that regard. Far more than anyone I've ever had a relationship with in the past, in terms of attempting to understand what I do and at least appreciating my passion for something. And like, but I'm not like, hey, you gotta join the Discord with it. Like, I have zero interest in that. But I'm really excited to take her to Miami and show her the clubhouse and introduce my friends, right? Like, I invited her to paintball. Unfortunately, she had a work event. She can't do paintball on the 18th, but I was like, no pressure, no obligation. I don't know if you'd be into like the paintball thing at all, but she's like, oh, absolutely. I'd love to go. I'd love to meet some of your friends. She can't on that particular day. But there's, at least for me, for my journey, it's much easier to talk about and bring others into the community. I brought my daughter to NFT NYC, and she enjoyed meeting the other people there. Like, she had a good time, but she's not going to be hanging out on Coffee with Captain every day. She's not into the tech like I am, but the people matter. Like she had, I think, some core memories. Like she got to hang out with Ja Rule at an after party. Like it was something that she probably won't forget for any time, and maybe not ever. That's the sort of stuff that it takes like one memorable night. You go to the clubhouse, you have one memorable night in Miami. Is everyone going to want to go rush out and buy a mutant because, oh, that was incredible? Probably not if they don't live in Miami, but they're going to remember it. And it's much easier to explain. I don't want to say justify, that's the wrong word, but it's much easier to explain what have others experience that in real life. So I farming being done, bringing some of the collectors back collecting. And while the clubhouse was known, I think it was another proof point. Like it was like maybe a week or two ago, I was pretty critical of Yuga for not having any updates other than Other Side since 8 Fest. This was a real update. This was like, okay, not only is the clubhouse definitely happening, it's coming soon. It's going to be in Wynwood. So any of the doubters, anyone that was like, maybe they decide they've changed their mind and they're just going to do the in real life pop-up tours and not do the clubhouse. Like it's happening. It's happening. Apparently, if you believe the matchbook, it's happening in 2026. And so I think it's just a proof point. It reconfirms that, okay, this is happening and I can see the path towards where this thing might be heading.
Yeah, Cap, I want to jump back in because you just made some like really incredible points. I think go back to when I first moved to South Florida. One of my good friends was like, he was a member of Grand Oaks Golf Course. That's where they filmed Caddyshack. And it was like 6,000, 7,000 to join. And then you had these monthly maintenance fees. But you could go golf whenever. They had a really cool clubhouse. You know, you get to sit in the lounge. You have your own locker. My locker was right below Tua Tagovailoa. I thought that was the coolest thing. But that's pretty cheap, really, because there's other golf courses, as you know, Cap, I'm sure, especially on the west coast of Florida, that people pay these outrageous HOA fees to live in golf communities, or they join these really exclusive, clubs and pay 50, 100, 200, sometimes even more, 100,000 just to get the membership. And then you have, upkeep and fees. So that's one of the greatest examples of like people joining exclusive clubs. I know Michael Jordan has some crazy golf courses that he owns or he's a part of that cost millions of dollars. People will pay the money for the exclusivity. The one thing that I think they can do really well at the clubhouse, while you were talking, I was thinking about the locker effect. Like if people have some ownership inside of it, it becomes like this special incentive. It's like this kind of a cool ownership bragging right.
Yep.
Where you're like, yeah, like if you buy this, you also have a locker at the clubhouse, and maybe they do like free roll poker tournaments. Maybe there's just some specific things there that are going to draw people. If they do it right, it's a grand slam, 100%. I think it's undeniable because you're then mixing all the other utility and all, and the gaming and all that stuff. I think it's a home run. I don't know if that's moving the needle now, but it is a perpetual thing that can move the needle and definitely excites like people who want that.
Yep.
Like fellowship network.
Wholeheartedly agree. It's one of the, I don't want to say it's not what got me into NFTs, but it's what kept me. Like this, to me, as someone who enjoys that sort of, I enjoy meeting people, I enjoy hanging out, I enjoy networking. This was far better than any networking experience I'd ever experienced before. It is a great community. I've met a lot of incredible friends, and we went away from community and the networking and got into, oh, these are just assets to trade. And we lost some of that. I mean, people were talking about on the timeline this morning how fun that, the months following the apes minting was, because people were meeting each other. They were really enjoying the club element. And can you have that without a clubhouse? Yeah, you can. I mean, we had it before. I just think it makes it so much easier to visualize what that may be and explain it to others. And we used the country club analogy previously or comparison, and some people weren't, oh, there's no golfing here. So remove country club and just look at social clubs. I showed this yesterday. I'll show it again, and then Outer will get you back in here to get your thoughts on this. Yeah, to Poppy's point, some are far more expensive. You know, remove Indian Creek, which is you got to be a billionaire to buy a property on the island, and you know the floor is about a $20 million property. But removing that one, most of the other social clubs in Miami are initiation fee, like upfront dues of anywhere from $5,000 to $250,000, and then you're paying on top of that, you're paying annual dues. The lowest, the Miami Yacht Club, is $1,500 a year. Soho House, which is probably the most affordable or lower cost, that's beyond just Miami, it's $4,200 a year, not once, every year. You know, so you know, call it $500-600 a month. Is that right? No, math is hard. Harbor Club, $2,500 a year, and it goes up quickly. You know, the Bath Club, $18,000 a year. The Surf Club, $15,000 a year. Fisher Island Club, $22,000 a year. You know, these are real clubs, and I think when it's got to be a hit. But the concept exists. This isn't something new. It's just by using NFTs as the membership pass, it unlocks not only the lifetime value of this membership, but it unlocks. There's so much more. It's more than just a pass. And we also hit on this yesterday. Is like with any of these other clubs, any of these other social clubs, if you're in it for a year or two and you move, or you decide, hey, it's not for me anymore, you just move on. It's sunk cost. You're out what you spent. Whereas with the NFT gated passes, the clubhouse, the access by holding a mutant or an ape, after a year or two, if you decide you want to move on, you can sell your pass. Like it's not just zero. Even if the price is $1,000 instead of $2,000, yeah, you still get access for a year or two, and then you still get $1,000 back. You can't get that elsewhere. I firmly believe we had Tifar on yesterday talking about an athletic club, a social club in St. Pete, that it's like more athletic, more pickleball based, more sports based. Same thing. Like you pay the dues, and then if you decide to leave, there's no recouping any of your investment. You're just paying dues that you never see again. I still think that this idea of leveraging NFTs as the access pass is a much better way. You can unlock so much more. You can tie in loyalty programs so much easier. There's just so much more you can do with it, not to mention the resale aspect for the member. Outer, I'm going to go refill the coffee real quick if you don't mind. But thoughts on that? Thoughts on, like, are we undervaluing the idea of a resellable access pass? And is it partially the reason because we got so much out of thinking of these things as like club, or you even said like the dirty word utility? Like, let's bring back utility. Like, and I understand these businesses have to make money. They got to be for-profit, entities. All these other locations, they sell drinks, they sell food, just like I expect the clubhouse to sell food. It's not just going to be all you can, drink, open bars all the time. But to get access to the VIP rooms, like, you're going to have an ape, you're going to have a mutant. And I think that we went so far into these are financial assets that many people forgot what they could unlock and what we could actually do with the tech.
I think it has a lot to do with how I feel as a holder of an asset going into an IRL experience versus how I feel as a non-holder going into this experience, and what the driver will be for me to become a holder, and what the driver will be for me to stay as a holder. And I think, like, a lot of nuance goes into that in terms of also, of course, being a revenue generating establishment. So it's going to be tricky to navigate that, because, like, here's an example. Like, if you want access to like a really popular nightclub like Berghain, maybe in Germany, where like maybe it's the color of your boots that gets you in, like nobody knows. If you have that much demand for a place, and then you pull up and there's some way for you to always get in then that's huge utility. And people that get turned away at the door are going to be like, well, okay, how do I do that? It's kind of the same way that like they started doing all kinds of different tiering for festivals, like you can go to Coachella as like the most VIP person next to, having a brand deal or actually being an artist versus, standing in all the general lineups and everything like that. So I think like, but the main event has to be so big that it transcends like you just being there. Like it's not enough that you're just there. It has to be like a huge motivator of why are you there, right? Like because if you're going just because you can't get in, I don't think that's enough. I think that like, it's like the tale as old as time idea behind branding where like, car tire companies don't sell tires, they sell safety. What is the club selling to me in the first place that I want to go and experience, but I don't have to wait in line to do it because because I'm special or I get special seating or whatever it is. But like at the end of the day, the reason why somebody is going to fork out, 10 grand for a VIP Coachella pass is because they get to skip all of the things to see some artists they want to see. They're not going to go because they get to skip all the things. You know what I'm saying? So I think there's nuance in how this is created and marketed to holders and non-holders. But yeah, those are just some like product user thoughts when I think about like how to set this up. Like, how do I feel special as an ape holder? How do I feel special as a mutant holder? How do I feel special just going there? But what is my motivator to show up as a non-holder? And then when I'm there, what becomes so obvious to me that I would be willing to pay a premium to be there as a holder? And if I am a holder, why do I want to stay a holder for this experience, especially for a community that isn't only in Miami, if we're talking specifically about that club, right? Like, why do I care, in Mexico or Hong Kong or Australia, in like Sydney, like if I'm sitting there and I have an ape in Australia, I'm probably not going to go to IRL Miami Clubhouse, like, maybe once in a lifetime, like, if I'm willing to travel, or I travel all the time, maybe. But like,
even if you travel all the time, maybe like once a year.
What makes that special to me?
Yep. And even if you're traveling a lot, if you do like the crypto circuit, you're maybe there once a year, twice probably max. If you're, across an ocean somewhere, it's not going to be something you do regularly. So
So it's both. It's like, how do you make it special within the IRL brick and mortar like establishment for those who are going to frequent it? And furthermore, how do you connect this like, because that's the difference between like, your fancy country club, whatever, down the street, is that caters to a local audience. Like, I do not care about your club, 2,000 kilometers or miles, whatever away, right? Like, and I wouldn't. Why would I? I'm going to care about the local one here. So like, but this is like the thing that makes this difficult, is that like there is a global audience to target to. How does that manifest itself as a brick and mortar establishment for also servicing those who have access apparently, but probably will never use it?
So I have maybe more like pie in the sky, pipe dreamish, unlikely to happen, but potentially with some of this new regulation. Clarity Act, by the way, is apparently the really close getting a deal done. I'm not going to hold my breath, but yesterday, Paul Atkins, the SEC chair, said we will propose reg crypto for token fundraising under 33 Act. We'll open for comment. We'll soon have innovation exemption for use of DeFi under 34 Act. I'm really reaching here, but when I first read this, I was like, maybe there is a future where we have another different, but another ICO season. We have another NFT season that is a method for fundraising. And where I'm connecting this dot to something like the Clubhouse is, the idea that you could potentially lease or rent your access to others. So it becomes a yield producing asset for you because it's productive and you're able to sell that on the secondary market. Not sell the asset, but sell the access to big events or whatever it may be. I also wonder then, is there a world at some point in the future where this is separated from the securities of the world, and you're actually able to share in the revenue stream, share in the, there's some sort of profit sharing mechanism for holders. I know that's easier said than done. Unvault's doing it with their divot and royalties because it's a licensing agreement, and maybe there's an area where I don't want to say loophole, but because you're giving rights to them utilize your IP that you own in a slideshow, or in it's on napkins, or who knows, somehow it's incorporated to where they're able, it justifies, it enables some sort of revenue sharing component, some sort of profit sharing component. Now, I also know, before someone gets in the comments, yes, it has to be profitable. Yes, it has to be a hit. I understand that is still a big variable. If this thing is the only people attending this are ape and mutant holders, and an average Friday night there's like 6 people in there, there's not going to be any profits to share. Like it still has to be a hit of a location. Again, this isn't new though. Like social clubs work. This I've shared many times in Pinellas County alone. Think of like St. Pete, Tampa. There's over 50 non-alcoholic bars. There's over 50 clubs that are community-based. The people don't go to drink; they go because of the community. And this stuff works. Like people go and they spend, in some cases, hours there, whether they're doing work in the morning or they're doing open mic night at night. Like if it's managed and ran well, they have a benefit of, they already have an existing embedded ambassador base, both locally and globally. And I know it's still an if it's profitable, if it's a concept that's sustainable, there could be other ways for holders to benefit beyond just you get access to this place if you're in Miami. Maybe a good time to bring in Simple Farmer. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I know you've done some interesting things when it comes to buybacks and I want to say profit sharing or rev sharing, but with what you've built out with clutch markets and then Pixel Pups and now with Canine, and I know this is different than Yuga, it's different than the club, but I'm just curious, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I don't know. I don't want you to say anything that you're not able to say, whether it's non-disclosures or you guys don't want to get front run on something yet. And I know there's also a lot of unknown, and these are just comments from the SEC chair. There's nothing in writing. There's no regulations per se yet, but just general thoughts on this idea, this concept, of in real life and the community, and then how holders of NFTs might be able to benefit from success of the brand, whether it's they build a successful perp dex or they've got a thriving in real life clubhouse location. Anything that you're able or comfortable to speak to? GM.
Yeah, GM Cap. Yeah, I think, in terms of just the in real life meetups, obviously crazy bullish. I think the clubhouse is an absolute game changer. It's, for me, the most bullish thing about my experience with all of the Yuga Eco was Ape Fest and the in real life events. Cool people having positive experiences in real life is an unbeatable onboarding mechanism. So you're having that as an always on in Florida at the clubhouse is going to be huge. How much do I believe so? I mean, my quant in the audience, TMA, just added 2 M2 mutants as well. So I was like, okay, it's definitely time to grab an M2. There was one near the floor, so I picked it up during the space while you were talking.
Coffee with Captain Pump is alive and well.
Yeah, great show. But no, it's bullish. It just is. Onboarding is easier in real life. I owned a bar for 3 years and stuff. And if you can make that like a really positive experience and, have it be open to people, obviously maybe not free, but some way for people to get in, create that FOMO around missing those in real life experiences and having them happen pretty often, and making the clubhouse just like a really cool place to be, especially in like such a cool spot, like in the, Miami region area. I just think that's so bullish, man, for crypto stuff, because we have so few things that feel tangible in this space. I mean, when somebody drops like a plushie or a toy, people are like, wow, that's so cool, because you just get something real, right? That's not digital. So when you get in real life experiences, that's like the next level. So for me, insanely bullish. In terms of the SEC stuff, I think we're still moving in the right direction. People forget how restrictive it was So I was afraid to deploy apps in the previous, atmosphere that the SEC was holding. Now I'm not in any way afraid to deploy things. Obviously, you have to be careful still. But I think their main focus is no longer targeting protocols and applications. They're just targeting bad actors, which is the way to go here.
I guess following back or circling back to, first of all, Fire M2. It's also for the background people over there. I'm just calling out that Simple Farmer went Aquamarine over Orange. Aquamarine still holds. That's the Grail. That's the alpha. Congrats on the Fire M2. I hit on Paul Atkins' comments. But to expand upon that, what's inside the proposal is a startup exemption. So time-limited registration exemption up to 4 years, allowing developers to raise up to $5 million with principle-based disclosures, essentially a white paper standard. And then there's exemptions, large rounds up to $75 million a year under stricter disclosure requirements, as well as an investment contract safe harbor, a clear defined off-ramp from securities treatment as network matures and original issuers controls decline. So to your point, like before you were kind of afraid or weren't going to be launching apps or limited in what you could launch. Not only is that hopefully the fear or concern subsided, but now we're close. He says it'll be by the end of the year, like a real path to doing this in a compliant way, a fully compliant way that they've signed off on.
Yeah, it's a really big deal. I mean, Cap, what this means is it opens up so many venues, obviously not just for startups, but also for just DeFi protocols. And what it also means is that it's time for a major infrastructure upgrade for NFTs and how they work on chain, with the clarity between what's a security, what's a commodity, of course, as well coming into play. And of course there we could get into the pixel pups and Clutch Anvil stuff as well.
Yeah, let's good time to hit on that. Tell us what's new. What have we missed? Appreciate you joining us last week. We tried to get everyone to mint their free pixel pup. Some did. I'm grateful I picked one up, and one of the success stories of March, April here with just continue a Terra. Free mint a week-ish ago is now up to 0.16 ETH, and that's another positive day. You can see the chart here. It's up another 13% on the day. What has come out since we had you on for Mint Day? What do the people need to know? What are you building with Pixel Pups and K9 and Anvil? And how might other builders, other teams, others that are in crypto, what might they take from this, whether it be their own project or to work in coordination with Anvil and all that you're building?
Yeah, so with Clutch, the main goal is to be kind of a laboratory for decentralized on-chain markets. So that means we're just going to put out product. We're going to throw things at the wall. Drop a lot of experiences, and what I think will be some of the most unique experiences in all of crypto, and also great infrastructure for NFTs as well that helps people scale and grow. So with Clutch, we dropped the Anvil, which is an NFT AMM, which gives you a full DeFi suite for your NFT collection. It's fully permissionless. Anybody can launch into it. And so for the first collection, we deployed Pixel Pups into that and gave it out as a free mint to all of the blue chip NFT collections in the space. Obviously the floor has reflected very positively, but we're going to continue building. My thesis is that Solana did an extremely good job in opening funnels and distribution to Web2 traders into Web3. And so, you get this eco where you have pump fund, drop tokens, and then tokens would run to a certain point, and then you'd have things like Moonshot come through and list it on a centralized exchange very quickly, make it purchasable via Apple Pay, and then that created this whole economic loop, a lot of volume, and now Pump Fund is $1 billion company. It's a massive entity, but it's, I think, in part because that infrastructure existed. You also had Jupiter there, so people could DCA into tokens. You had so many various token trading tools. It was very much built to accelerate quickly. And so I believe that NFTs can mirror this process in a big way. Right now, NFTs have 1% of the market cap of meme coins. I think using the contracts that NFT collections get via the Anvil, we can have NFT collections, especially the super strong ones, listed for the first time on major centralized exchanges via their AMM token as their proxy, essentially. So, with Pixel Pups, we're going to keep pushing for that. That is going to be the ultimate goal. And then just keep dropping experiences. I have a lot of products we're going to be putting out. This month, we're putting out something called the Civilizations Protocol, which is like a city builder game where the Pixel Pups holders are all going to get an allocation of the tokens. On the front end, it looks like a city builder. On the back end, it's actually token trading, where you get to select one of 5 city tokens, color like New York, Tokyo, Los Angeles, Mexico City, and Dubai. When you select your city token, you get those actual tokens on chain. You get to develop property in your city for those tokens, and anybody can also buy additional tokens to continue developing. And then every 24 to 72 hours, there's going to be an earthquake that actually inflicts damage on the LP of the damaged cities and moves that LP into the surviving city, buying the surviving city token. So all the property value is going to jump in the surviving city. And so that's going to happen like every 72 hours, dictated by an LLM, and the results decided by VRNG actually on chain. So this is just like one example of these experiences that we're going to continue to put out, while at the same time improving the overall infrastructure for NFTs as a whole. Because I think we can really take off here. That everything is looking way better, and we have better communities. With respect to meme coins are doing a lot better than NFTs with way less community and way less conviction. So there's no reason it shouldn't be flipped the opposite way. I think it's fundamentally just an infrastructure problem.
Well, I don't know how you do it. I feel like you're shipping something new every week, and appreciate you pushing the space forward, taking shots, experimenting on chain. That's the other thing I think we talk about, like NFT, this new phase, this second phase of NFTs. It feels like not only is the community element coming back and in real life and the utility of what this access pass might get you, but I feel like we're seeing more experimentation on chain. Sage H in the chat's asking about NFT normies. What do you think about it? I think we need to have Cirque on the show to do a full deep dive and do a proper discussion on normies. But I do know the one thing that is really leaning into the tech, really leaning into the experimenting on chain, and I think that is where you get the best of both worlds, where you can do the on-chain experimentation, do new things, whether it's just purely on-chain and digital, or it's combination of that with the in real life element and tying in things like loyalty programs and incentivized experiences, and just a lot that can be done. And the tech has come a long way. Outer, I saw you post Udi's post just regarding the native marketplace, which is in closed beta, but you can buy Taproot Wizard or Quantum Cap without an Ordinals wallet. You can pay with any wallet, any chain, even with Apple Pay. Like the idea of buying an NFT, forget about Ordinals, any NFT with Apple Pay in 21 was probably almost laughable. It was hard to get any money on chain. I still have nightmares over trying to bridge funds to Polygon for a Zed run drop that was like 2 weeks in the making.
Oh my God, Polygon. Sorry, I forgot.
Oh my God, Zed run, my first 15 ETH.
The bridge was I'm not exaggerating. There was once I bridged and it was well over a week. And I got on a Google Meet, which don't ever do this. I didn't know at the time. I got in a Google Meet, which I think they were employees of Polygon. To this day, I don't know, but they didn't.
Is it Matic?
Yep.
Polygon's Matic, right? Yeah. Okay. That my brain had to like dust some cobwebs off there to remember that.
Yeah. Bridges and just like not even needing a bridge. I mean, I shared it yesterday. I got the Rect Energy, and on the back of this card, which says, claim your Rect coins, there's a QR code. I scanned the QR code, and within seconds, like I saw someone say it took 7 seconds. I'll take the under. Mine was definitely less than 7 seconds. I scanned the QR code, no other buttons. All I did was scan the QR code, and the next thing I know, there's $19.21 of Rect coin. It was 140 million Rect coin, boom, like that in my base wallet, in the base app. Now, I did have the base app on my phone, so I ordered another container of Rect Energy yesterday, just because not just because I wanted to try the different flavor, but primarily I want to experience the user journey on a phone where I don't have base app installed and see what that's like. Because for someone that has the base app, it was by far the quickest, most seamless claim of anything I've ever experienced in crypto. Didn't have to sign anything. I literally scanned the QR code and money appeared in my wallet. I mean, couldn't get any. It was easier than any Web2 loyalty program I'd ever signed up for. Like really, really come a long way with the tech, from marketplaces to claims. And when I say this next phase of NFTs, this is partially what I'm talking about. Like, I'm old enough to remember the very first Ape Fest, how much of a nightmare it was to get your wristband and get access. And long story short, that experience, that pain point, led to the formation of Token Proof, which eventually you acquired and has become a staple in terms of utilizing these NFTs as access passes. Like in 21, it was a digital asset. In the tech was programmable software on chain. Now you actually can program against it. Now there's actually a lot you can do with the tech, especially on some of these newer contracts. But even outside of that, just like it's much easier for the quote unquote normie to participate, to use this stuff without having to know how to download a MetaMask wallet and loads funds and bridge those funds to Polygon. Like it was not ready for prime time. And yet somehow we still brought in millions of people into this space. And this second time, it's just going to be so much easier, so much so that most won't know. Like most are going to interact with blockchain technology, and they're not even really going to realize it. By the way, speaking of interacting with blockchain tech without realizing it, if you have Cash App, today through the 10th, you can go to any retailer. You can search in the Cash App for retailers that accept Bitcoin as payment. And if you go and spend even $1 in Bitcoin, you get $25 in Bitcoin back. So I'm going to today, tomorrow, someday, I'm going to go to Steak and Shake, partially so I can experience the UI. I'm going to go buy some fries or a burger with Bitcoin from my Cash App, and then get the $25 rebate. My point of sharing that is it's on the Cash App. The user experience should be very similar, if not the same, as buying something with Apple Pay, and getting in this world now where tap to pay is reality. You don't need seed phrases. You don't need private keys. Can you go deep in the rabbit hole and still have access? Yeah, sure. But for most people, they just want things to work. They don't want to think about the technology. They don't care about the technology. They just want it to work. And my bigger point being is that it enables so much more than you can do off chain in many cases. Siersky said, I hear you talking about the reality of profits, and while there are a lot of successful bars and socials in the US, food and beverage and entertainment has a very high turnover and small percentage of success. I feel more conversation should be about how this community is going to run a profitable club, not benefit from it. I understand that's still a variable. There's no guarantee they're going to be profitable, but I think you answered the question in your question, is that part of the benefit is the community. Is the community's not running it. Yuga's going to be running it. But the fact that most bars and clubs don't launch with around 20,000 passionate brand ambassadors and promoters. Now, I know all those aren't local to Miami, but there's hundreds, if not thousands of members, or maybe they're not even in the club, but they're passionate about crypto and NFTs. And, there'll be an Art Basel. And if the clubhouse becomes a destination location, word, I think, will spread pretty quickly. And that's not a guarantee for success, but I think it's somewhat of a cheat code, and it mitigates the chance of failure or not working, because they have an embedded base. Bored Cuban is a community-based restaurant that leveraged the IP. It's not Yuga, but they launched with an embedded base of brand ambassadors. Whether people live in that market and they've gone and they've supported it because it's a member of the club, whether it's people visiting Miami for Art Basel or something else, and they go check it out to, again, support a fellow club member. Like that concept of a real network. It's like, basically it's the equivalent of a restaurant or bar opening up, and they've not only been a member, but they're a member of a very passionate chamber of commerce that, it's not just going to be a ribbon cutting. They're going to have hundreds or thousands of customers come and support them, both in person as well as online and socials. Like, we've seen network effects really do exist in crypto. Rect Energy just dropped, and it's already, I think, a top 50 SKU on Amazon. Just launched, and it's already flying up the charts because it launched with a embedded base of passionate brand ambassadors and supporters. Like, that's very real. And I think we've not forgotten about that, but I don't think we value enough the network effects that are very real and exist in this space. And the great brands are they lean into it. Outer, I know I wanted to hit on the Mega ETH post. We'll fly over that, at least read the bullet points. And I kind of flew over the Taproot Wizards marketplace that's in beta. Anything to add to that, or is there anything else that you're hoping to talk about today that we haven't hit on yet?
No, I think this has been a good show. It's weird, like sometimes we go full on into like the humanness of it all, and I'm kind of here for like, I don't know, like a product-y kind of discussion, which is really interesting. Like if I zoom out, I just kind of thinking about like what the NFT shopping experience is going to be, and there's just so many different ways that manifests, from, you know, something like Magic Eden getting rid of a bunch of projects to OpenSea still being around and trying to manage what they're going to look like as a marketplace, to all of the various individual projects, ourselves included, creating like kind of our own experiences for purchasing. Like, yeah, it's kind of, yeah, I don't know. There's, and also like in this whole vibe coding era, like you pretty much make anything at this point and test the market and see if people like what you make.
Yep. That's the bigger sentiment shift, I feel, is we're back in experimentation mode. We're back in, they say builders build in a bear, and many of these individuals, many of these leading brands, they've continued to build. They maybe aren't sharing updates every week or every month, but they've been working on a lot of things throughout the bear. And maybe this is it. Maybe if there's 20,000 active participants in the crypto native, in the NFT PFP world today, maybe that's all there ever is. Maybe there's never any new wallets or new users onboarding. Maybe. I do think there's still opportunity for those that are here to be success, even if there's never any net new users, because I do think there'll be consolidation. I do think you'll see, the those that continue to ship and continue to execute will, the proverbial cream will rise to the top. And I say that also thinking that I do think there will be, Ilan, sorry, I saw you were coming up. I was trying to add you there. Could have been an X issue. If so, give us another request. We'll get you up here. If you're having issues, if it keeps failing the ad, do a quick lap, maybe double check, make sure you're on the most recent version of X, and we will get you added. But yeah, it's been a little finicky. Usually is at around update time. We'll see if we can get Ilan up here. And then while I do that, I said I wanted to share, this was the Mega ETH investor memo that came out yesterday. They said, happy Easter Monday. As the rabbit chain, today feels like the right time to share updates and lessons learned since our launch. Mega is ranked 7th in terms of holder revenue generation. The change has experienced zero downtime. They did launch the 1-to-1 USDM bridge, USDM is now X402 V2 compliant. That's the AI agent realm. Mega ETH is currently defining a universal EVM spec for MPP. Mafia, the world market is live and open to the public. Euphoria has completed its audit and is moving into full launch. That's the tapped trade game. Hit One now has access to liquidity from GMX, which is now live with USDM as its sole vault asset. Showdown, that's that poker game, has completed its spring tournament and paid out winners. And Dream has officially joined the Mafia. This team is building an options protocol. And then in the KPI-based TGE, if you remember, while mainnet is live, they did not TGE yet. It's going to be KPI based instead of time bound. They underestimated the effort required to get the basics right. Taking 3 weeks to launch the USDM 1-to-1 bridge was not acceptable. Speed is path dependent. They have a tendency to design programs that depend on multiple milestones being achieved in sequence. This happy path approach works when everything goes right, but it breaks down when even one milestone slips, and is really tough when the market is in peak FUD. Building an ecosystem is a matter of clever coordination. To move faster, we must make clear and at times uncomfortable decisions to reduce dependencies and align teams. And they fail to credibly explain their current phase to the public. To tell the truth, it's an awkward phase. On one hand, we've been deliberate in holding a high bar for TGE. Conversely, we need to make our progress visible as teams work towards that goal. Without clear framing, our silence has been interpreted as stagnation. That is now changing. A meaningful number of applications are moving into public release, and our DeFi flywheel is beginning to take full shape. April will be a defining and exciting month. We will ship new products, introduce new Mafia projects, and launch novel primitives that actually solve problems, all carrying the usual mega energy. That was the Mega ETH investor memo that was sent out yesterday. I did pin that up top if anyone wanted to do any further reading. And we will keep it real here before we get y'all out of here. But before we go to that, Ilan, GM, welcome to the stage. What brought you up this morning?
Yeah, what's up, man? I just wanted to say, yeah, this has been a great show. I wanted to also sort of double tap on the collaborative aspect of what we're all doing here. Like what the discussion has really been siloed thus far is in the context of what each particular project has been doing. But I think that, I think you're absolutely right in the context of this experimentation is coming back. And I think that's a powerful place to be from a sort of an innovative space, because people are trying things and trying things on and seeing what works. And people have, again, a lot more powerful tools now than they did, a handful of years ago to really go out there and, vibe code shit and use agents on shit and create, NFTs into, characters that are agents, these kind of things. So I'm looking forward to this next phase. I think that largely we have distilled down holder bases to to that essence, right? Like to those people that are here again, for the right reasons, whether that is, and they can, they get in where they fit in, right? Like you can find a project that sort of fulfills your intent and mission in getting into the space. And that there's power in that whenever you really do distill something to its essence and allow it to, and set it free with a set of really democratizing sort of tech tools and people that are thought leaders and pushing boundaries and innovation. I think that what I hope to see a little bit more of, and some of that cream to rise to the top is cross community collaborative tools. One that popped up on the radar today because of the Pudgy partnership was Records Network. And I think that, a lot of sort of the promise of NFTs and at the jump was, this powerful IP and this sort of, art / community / co-creation, aspect of these projects. But I see somebody like Records Network popping up with, partnerships with, it looks like, a handful of NFT projects, and it looks like they're going to be doing something really interesting in the IP proliferation play, and that's going to be sort of a platform for sort of cross community collaboration as well. See what works, have people be on that platform or network and really push the boundaries of crowdsourcing co-creation, which was something that we talked about a lot in the beginning of all of this, that again sort of got drowned out in the hyper financialization of NFTs, and then that into the horrific bear market. But once you sort of again distill this space down to the people that are here for the right reasons and want to do shit, right? Like want to connect and want to create and want to push this space forward in a way that makes the most sense for those that are involved, I think is going to be really, really powerful. So I look forward to seeing some of those tools that are sort of rising to the top and leveraging the great minds, right, that are here that have congregated in this space and really tapping into that collective wisdom.
Appreciate you sharing. I had missed this. Somehow I didn't see it on the timelines. My first time, I just gave Records Network a follow. It was my first time hearing or seeing about it, becoming aware of it. As I understand it, Records Network is being built out by the Persona team, which actually Spike is in the audience regularly. He was in here yesterday. I don't think Spike's out there today, but we'll have to get Spike from Persona on to talk about this a little more. It says a Persona product built on Base. Introducing a new era for brand content. It's the first AI infrastructure for IP growth built on Base. can you, like, I still, it's not clicking. Can you TLDR what is Records Network? Like, what is the
Dude, when you read it, it's like, man, that is the word salad of buzzwords. But I think the way that I sort of understand it, and again, I don't have, you know, a real clear vision on what it is. I've only you know, touched on it with some of the people that did the partnerships and that want to sort of build on this platform. But I think it is much more of sort of a platform for other sort of NFT brands to get on and you know, sort of co-create the lore of the brand together. The you know, the platform sort of enables those storytellers and creators to contribute to the canon of, say, like traits or, you know, characters or whatever, and these are sort of, you know, upvoted or downvoted by you know, participants, and, you know, eventually graduate into canon for, you know, for a project. I'm not too real sure what the AI aspect of it is. I'd love to hear straight from the horse's mouth. I'd love to hear it from Spike and the Persona team, because this does look like you know, this does look like something that they created out of Persona, but is its own sort of, you know, thing. I know that Persona is going to be utilizing the, you know, the platform along with I think Final Bosu, and again, the Pudgy Penguins one was what caught my attention today. So
yeah, I mean, I will say that you're right. I'm not taking a shot. Like, it was a lot of buzzwords. I'm sure the deck looks really nice, but I will say, just in my quick scanning the timeline, is they've got a lot of great partners at launch. So you mentioned Final Bosu and Pudgies, and I saw as I was scrolling here, Klanos, and I don't want to leave anyone out, but they've already onboarded a lot of key partners in the NFT space. And as I can deduce, it's some sort of system to help them with content to grow the IP. I also am really interested how AI infrastructure comes into play here. But they've got not only the brands they partnered with, they've got a lot of people, you know, not non-paid promotions. I trust Marianne, and I think if it was a paid promotion, she would disclaim her. She specifically said this is not a paid promo or sponsored post. But a lot of people excited about what they're building. So as it was the first time here, I will read, or we'll go watch the intro video after the show, and we'll get well, I can't speak for him, but I'll DM Spike and we'll at least invite him on the show. Most likely he's joined us before. I'm sure he'd be happy to come on and talk through what all they're building. But I also will agree with Ilan that I think the more collaboration, like I'm hopeful that is part of this NFT 2.0, this next phase of NFTs, is less PvP and more collaboration. You can still have fun. You can still have the fun elements of PvP, but not attempting to dunk on people, not trying to tear people down. But when someone has a win, celebrate the win, whether you're a holder or not. Like, we're such a small like industry that wins are good for all. And those that are helping push the space forward, those that are working with others, those that are collaborating, I think we stand to gain so much more than attempting to pull other people down and in the infighting. Like, that doesn't attract anyone. No one who wants to join a space that people are just at each other's throat all the time. It's just not a great environment. Yeah, I'm interested. Thanks for sharing. I will learn more about this, but some good buzz early on in the timeline, and we'll be excited to see what Spike and the Persona team are building there with Records, and salute to them for at least taking the approach of collaboration as opposed to locking something down and just competing with others. All that being said, one more quick read to get in here. We've talked a lot today about the real world nature, real world assets. And in particular, in today's, we spent a lot of time talking about real world gatherings and places to meet up. In this case, a clubhouse. We're gonna keep it real with our Doma segment here. And before we get you out of here, maybe one more news nugget, but This is Keeping It Real, brought to you by Doma.
Buying domains was slow, Doma changing the game. One bridge, one standard, now the systems move the same. Registrar, stay central, keep the trust and control. DNS and compliance, still they play the key role. Traded on chain, let new markets arise. Domain value unlocked. Welcome to Domain Fi.
As I said, today's Keeping It Real, talking about the physical realm, not just real world assets in the sense of collectibles, but how real world assets may incorporate on chain with access and utility and clubs and the access pass. One very real real world asset specific to Doma is those domains. We've got Dominion. Their annual conference comes up at the end of this month. Outer, I see you in the audience on one of my phones, but not on the other. I'm not sure what. Maybe she's on stage and I just can't see her, but we'll get you out of here for some closing words in a second. If I'm just not sure if mine's glitching out or we just lost you. But all that being said, back to Doma. We talked about last week, they launched rides.com, a 6, 7, maybe 8-figure domain. It's fractionalized. It's on Doma. You can go acquire your own shares of Doma. It's currently trading at just an FTV of 225,000, which again is up big from Mint and bonding. They also software.ai, another big domain of theirs, just went live on Base. They're now up to 115,000 domains, 26 million of TVL, and over 60 million of volume. I am going to plug their conference, which it does. If you're going to Bitcoin Vegas, I strongly recommend checking out Dominion. It will take place at so Bitcoin Vegas is April 26, 27, 28, 29, or 27, 28, 29. And then Dominion is April 29th and 30th, also in Las Vegas. Really phenomenal lineup. I think phenomenal because it's combining both worlds. You got a lot of, Solana, Avalanche, D3 is the parent company behind Doma. Kalshi will be out there. And then in addition to the crypto natives, you've got some of the top domainers on the planet. The guy who actually acquired AI.com and sold it to crypto.com will be one of the speakers out there. A good chance to learn more, not just about tokenized domains and what they're doing, but domains are a real world asset that's not going anywhere. Like there is a real floor. And if you're interested if you're going to be at Bitcoin Vegas, we have a limited number of passes. But if you're going to be out there, DM myself, actually DM the Coffee with Captain account. I'll bring it up on stage as we play us out, and let us know you're going to be at Bitcoin Vegas and you'd like to attend Dominion, and we'll either get you. We've got a handful of just a small amount of a free pass or two, and then we got some deep discounts for others. So yeah, if you're interested in going, let us know. And haven't booked flights yet, but planning on making the trip. It's a quick turn between that and then Consensus Miami is like the following week. So busy. It's conference season. We're full swing conference season here kicking off, and but looking forward to hopefully seeing some friends in real life at these, whether it's at the clubhouse in the near future or at Bitcoin Vegas or Dominion or Consensus. I do believe there's something, or paintball in Tampa with fellow apes in 11 days. I think that this is my favorite part of crypto. My favorite part of the NFT sector is it's at the intersection of bleeding edge technology and the digital realm meeting real life. And I think often, especially in bears, it's easy to forget about the magic that can take place at real life, the networking that can occur, the connection you can make, not just friends, but real networking, like real networking. You can tell by my gray beard, I've been around, I've been actually networking professionally longer than the thread guys of the world have been alive. And I don't say that I'm not better than anyone else. I've experienced a lot of networking, which has helped me build businesses. My Verizon business while it was a retail business, a lot of our success, our differentiator was we built a lot of great relationships with the local businesses, and that funneled a lot of business to our stores. Most Verizon dealers, most Verizon managers, they weren't joining the Chamber of Commerce, the BNIs. That was part of what led to so much success in our stores was we built relationships in the community. We really prided ourselves on those relationships over a transactional interaction. And I share that because the networking that exists here, not just in the Bored Ape Yacht Club, but in crypto at large, for the active participants, it's unlike anything. It's unlike any chamber of commerce. It's unlike any BNI or any, you fill in the blank networking group, Soho House. It's global in scale, and it can also be hyper regionalized or localized as well with the sub communities. And then when you get these flagpole events where so many people come from across the globe together, there really is a lot of magic that takes place that's just really hard to describe until you experience it. Even I just going back and forth some in the chat, like, have you been to an Ape Fest? Because it's like people think, oh, it's a nightclub or it's a party. It's not. It's like, I don't even drink, and I love Ape Fest. God willing and health willing, I'll go to every year. I'm looking forward to going to the clubhouse, not because I'm looking forward to party until 2 or 3 in the morning, because it's the best networking I've ever experienced in my entire life. Having built multiple businesses and done a lot of networking, spent countless hours at networking events and trade shows and conferences, the quality, the level, the quality and the quantity of connections that I've made at every single in real life event, every single conference, is unlike anything I've experienced in my prior professional career. And I think it's easy to forget about that when we go through a bear market or a year or two goes by and you haven't been to an in real life event. And I think it's some of the, on keeping it real with, again, brought to you by Doma. Head to doma.xyz to learn more. We actually have it tomorrow. We'll do a episode 3 for Doma on air. We'll share that link tomorrow during the show. But yeah, if you'd like to learn more about Doma and all they're building, tune into that. I think it'll be early afternoon tomorrow. And obviously Doma Protocol is their X handle as well. You can learn more there as well. But more on that, more on Bitcoin Vegas, more on Dominion and in real life meetups in crypto, whether it's a paintball or a clubhouse opening up. A lot of exciting stuff happening. And that's where I get excited. I think the floor price moving up and the sentiment shifting a little bit on X, I do think is a byproduct of what's happening, and whether it's currently happening or coming soon. I think people are getting excited again for what's on the come. And I see Spike just jumped out there. Spike, we were just talking about you, and Ilan turned us on to Records Network. I pinned your teaser video up top. I was just saying I was going to DM you after the show since you're in here. Would love to have you on potentially later this week. We have a guest tomorrow, but maybe Thursday or Friday, if not next week, if your schedule works. We'd love to have you on and do a proper interview and a deeper dive on all that you're building with Records Network. So if you get a chance to let me know a day, someday like 9 o'clock-ish Eastern time, 9:30, something like that. If not Thursday or Friday, let me know the best day for you next week, and we will we'll make it work. But looking forward to it. Someone asked, what's the name of the bar in Calgary? I'm not sure what that was in response to. If you're talking about Board Brewing, maybe Peter's Club or Peter's Bar, Peter's Brewery. I'm guessing, but I'm not sure what the question's in response to. But oh yeah, Diablito said I want to go visit the Bored Ape Bar in Calgary. Yeah, it's Board Brewing is the name. With that, Outer, thank you so much for co-hosting today. Greatly appreciate it. Greatly appreciate your time and sharing your big brain. Always enjoyed the conversation. Today was no different. I'm just scanning the chat before I let you out of here. Yeah, if you did get your Rect Energy, go claim your tokens. That doesn't stay open forever, but super simple process. And I think claim it not just to get your $20 of Rect or 140 Rect tokens. Go claim it so you can experience it yourself. The user interface, the user experience, and I think you will be impressed. I think it'll also be an eye opener in terms of how far the tech has come and how much in a better spot we are today than we were even a few years ago. And with that, we'll be back tomorrow, as always, 8 a.m. Eastern time. As I was alluding to, we are fortunate to be joined by special guests, sometimes impromptu, like we had Simple Farmer and Poppy join us today, just impromptu to talk and add some details on what they're building. Sometimes it's impromptu, sometimes it's scheduled interviews like we're looking to do with Spike and team next week. but usually starts first hour, news of the day, trending topics, etc. And then we have a special guest join us. We usually do that around the 9 o'clock hour. We had Bunchy join us yesterday for AI with Bunch. Timing was appropriate, as shortly after the show is when I saw it. It might have even dropped during the show. Altman talking about like end of the world type stuff, doom and gloom from the AI leader. Sometimes I think that is with intent. Maybe I don't know, man. It's a wild time to be alive. That's all I know for sure. But I'm going to remain on the optimistic side versus the doom and gloom. Be Epic and Hans, thank you very much for the Pingu tips over there in Abstract. Greatly appreciate it. And thank you all for tuning in today. Appreciate you all. Appreciate the conversation in the chat, as well as all of our guest speakers. And as always, have a wonderful day, and we'll see y'all tomorrow. Thanks, everyone.